Hello everyone. If you're watching this, you probably want to speak English fluently. But maybe you don't have a teacher. You don't go to classes. You don't even use fancy apps. You're learning completely alone. And that can feel impossible sometimes. Because everywhere you look, people say, you need to join a course. You need a speaking partner. You need to study grammar first. But what if you don't have any of that? Can you still master English? Yes, you can. And in this video, I'm going to show you how, step by step. No teacher. No class. No app. Just you, your mind, and your daily effort. Because English is not a subject. It's a skill. And any skill can be learned, if you practice it the right way. When you learn English alone, the first battle is not with grammar. It's with your mind. Your biggest enemy is not your accent or vocabulary. It's your self-doubt. You look at fluent speakers and think, I'll never be like them. But what you don't see is how many hours they practiced alone. How many mistakes they made. How many times they wanted to quit. Every fluent English speaker once spoke broken English. Every confident speaker once hesitated to say even a single word. The difference is, they didn't stop. So the first step to mastering English alone is simple. Believe that you can. You don't need a perfect environment. You don't need expensive tools. You just need patience, focus, and daily practice. Think about this. A child learns to speak their first language without grammar books or teachers. They listen, they repeat, they make mistakes, and they learn. That's exactly how you can learn English too. Start with listening. Every day, listen to English, even if you don't understand everything. Podcasts, YouTube videos, movies, news, anything. Because listening builds your ear for the language. It trains your brain to catch rhythm, pronunciation, and tone. In the beginning, it will sound too fast. You'll feel lost. But don't worry. Your brain is absorbing more than you think. Every day you listen, your understanding grows silently. And when you listen, don't just hear the words, feel them. Notice how native speakers use emotion. How their voice goes up and down. That's how natural speaking begins, by copying rhythm, not just words. Next, start talking to yourself. Yes, talk to yourself in English. You don't need a partner for that. You can practice speaking anytime, anywhere. When you wake up, describe what you're doing. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm making breakfast. I'm going to work. It may sound silly, but it's powerful. Because the more you use English to describe your life, the more natural it becomes. At first, your sentences will be short. Then they'll grow. And one day, you'll find yourself thinking in English, without even trying. That's real fluency. Remember, fluency is not about using big words. It's about expressing your thoughts clearly and confidently. Even simple words can sound powerful if spoken naturally. Now let's talk about grammar. Many learners get stuck because they focus only on grammar rules. They memorize, but they never speak. Grammar is important, but only when it helps you communicate better. Don't make grammar your prison. Use it as your guide. When you learn alone, focus on understanding how sentences work. For example, listen to phrases like, I'm going to, I have been, or I will be. Notice how they're used in real conversations. You'll understand grammar naturally, through patterns, not rules. Next comes reading. Read every day, even a little. It could be short stories, news articles, or simple books. Reading builds vocabulary and helps you see how words connect. But don't just read, speak what you read aloud. Hearing your own voice in English builds confidence. If you find new words, don't try to memorize hundreds at once. Choose 5 new words every day. Write them. Say them. Use them in your own sentences. Within a month, you'll know 150 new words. not just in memory, but in practice. Keep a notebook, your English journal. Write your thoughts in English daily, even if it's just 3 lines. It could be, "Today I felt tired. I watched a movie. I learned new words." Writing helps you organize thoughts and improve grammar naturally. And here's something powerful. Record your voice. Yes, record yourself speaking English. Then listen to it. It may feel awkward at first, but it's one of the best ways to improve. You'll notice your pronunciation, your pauses, your speed. Then you can adjust and grow. If you compare your recordings after 1 month, you'll hear your progress. And that's motivation in itself. Now let's talk about discipline, the real secret. When you study alone, no one is watching you. No one will tell you, "Do your practice." You are your own teacher. And that's where most learners fail. So build a small routine. Nothing fancy, just 30 minutes daily. 10 minutes listening. 10 minutes speaking. 10 minutes reading or writing. That's it. If you do this every day, your brain stays in learning mode. And here's something magical. Consistency beats talent. Even if you study just a little every day, you'll beat those who study once a week for hours. Because language learning is not about pressure, it's about habit. Some days, you'll feel lazy. Some days you'll think, "It's not working." But remember, even on those days, your effort counts. Every word you speak, every video you listen to, every line you write, it's all part of your growth. You won't see progress daily, but you'll feel it monthly. One day, you'll watch an English video and realize, "Wait, I understood everything." That's your silent victory. That's your proof that you're improving. Also, don't fear mistakes. Mistakes are your best teachers. Every time you make one, you learn something new. Fluent speakers make mistakes too. They just keep going. When you speak and forget a word, don't stop. Use another word. Explain the idea. Because fluency is not perfection, it's confidence. So speak. Even if you're wrong. Because if you wait to be perfect, you'll never start. And when you learn alone, learn to enjoy it. Don't treat English like an exam. Treat it like a new way to experience the world. Watch English movies not for study, but for joy. Listen to music, learn lyrics, and repeat them. Make English your friend, not your subject. You can even change your phone settings to English. Start reading simple English posts on social media. Surround yourself with English everywhere, so it becomes part of your daily life. That's how your brain adapts. That's how English stops feeling like a foreign language and starts feeling natural. There will be moments when you'll feel tired, when you'll think, "This is too hard." But remember, you are learning something powerful. You are building a skill that can change your entire future. English can open doors to education, to work, to travel, to friendships. So don't give up. You're not just learning a language, you're building confidence, discipline, and freedom. Learning alone doesn't mean you're alone. Every learner who ever became fluent started right where you are, uncertain, shy, and hopeful. And they made it. So can you. The difference between those who speak English fluently and those who don't is not talent. It's consistency. It's belief. It's action. So don't wait for the perfect time or perfect resources. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Because your progress begins the moment you stop waiting and start doing. If you can give 6 months of real focus, daily small steps, you'll see a change you never thought possible. And when people hear you speak, they'll ask, "Where did you learn?" And you'll smile and say, "I learned alone." That's the power of patience. That's the reward of self-study. You've already started the journey. You've built the belief. You've made small habits. Now, it's time to go deeper, to understand how to truly think, speak, and live in English, completely on your own. The truth is, learning English alone is not just about words. It's about changing how your mind works. It's about building a new way of thinking. Because English is not just grammar and rules. It's a rhythm, a mindset, a connection between thought and sound. So, if you really want to master it, you have to train your brain to think in English. And yes, you can do it. At first, your thoughts come in your native language. You translate them, then speak. That's slow. That's normal. But slowly, you must reduce translation. Start small. When you see something, name it in English, instantly. If you see a cup, say, cup. If you feel hungry, think, I'm hungry. If you want to rest, think, I'm tired. Simple. This habit connects your brain with English naturally. The more you do this, the faster your mind switches from translation to direct English thinking. And one day, you'll realize, you don't need to translate anymore. You'll just speak. Next, don't study words. Study phrases. Because we don't speak with single words, we speak in combinations. For example, instead of memorizing, look, learn. Look at, look for, look after. Instead of take, learn. Take care, take time, take responsibility. Learning like this helps you sound natural. Because native speakers don't think about grammar, they use patterns. And when you repeat these patterns, you'll start speaking automatically. Make repetition your best friend. When you learn something new, don't just read it once. Repeat it until it becomes part of you. Repeat phrases aloud. Repeat sentences from movies. Repeat expressions you love. Repetition turns knowledge into reflex. And don't forget, your voice is your classroom. Speak more than you study. Don't wait to feel ready. Just start speaking. Talk about your day, your plans, your dreams, anything. Even if you speak wrong, speak. Even if no one is listening, speak. Because speaking is not the reward, it's the practice. And every time you speak, your confidence grows. Now, let's talk about fear, the fear of speaking. It's the biggest wall between you and fluency. You fear judgment. You fear making mistakes. You fear sounding funny. But here's a secret, no one cares. People are too busy thinking about themselves. The only one judging you is you. So free yourself. Be brave enough to sound imperfect. Fluency comes when you stop trying to be perfect and start trying to be real. Speak with emotion, not just words. Because when you speak with emotion, people feel you, even if your grammar is not perfect. Think about babies. They don't wait to master grammar before speaking. They speak broken sentences, make sounds, try again, and that's how they learn. You're not too old for that process. You just need the same courage to sound silly for a while. And the truth is, the fastest learners are not the smartest. They're the bravest. They speak, they fail, they try again. They're not afraid of how they sound. They just keep going. Now, let's talk about your environment. If you want English to grow inside you, you must live in it, even if you're alone. Change your world into English. Your phone, your YouTube feed, your music, your thoughts, everything. Surround yourself with English sounds. When you walk, listen to English. When you relax, read something short in English. When you sleep, let English play softly in the background. You don't need to understand everything, just stay surrounded. Your brain learns even when you're not focused. It's like planting seeds. The more exposure, the stronger your roots become. And if you ever feel bored, mix learning with fun. Watch English movies with subtitles. Listen to songs. Play word games. Learn quotes. The more you enjoy it, the longer you'll stay consistent. Remember, consistency builds fluency. Not one big effort, but many small daily ones. Now, here's something most learners forget. your emotions. Your emotional state affects how fast you learn. When you feel relaxed, your brain absorbs more. When you feel stressed, it blocks learning. So don't learn English with fear. Learn it with curiosity. Enjoy the process. Celebrate small progress. You'll be surprised how fast you grow when you learn with joy, not pressure. Make English part of your life, not a task. Think of it like brushing your teeth, something small you do every day without stress. Even 15 minutes daily can change your entire level within months. Now, let's talk about pronunciation. You don't need to sound British or American. You just need to be clear. The goal is not accent, it's understanding. When you listen, notice how words connect. English has rhythm. Some words are strong, some are soft. Try to feel that flow. Repeat sentences as you hear them. Don't focus only on words. Focus on music of the language. That's what makes your speech smooth. And if you want a small exercise, shadowing. Listen to a sentence, pause, and repeat it exactly how you heard it. Same tone, same rhythm, same pause. This is one of the most powerful exercises you can do alone. It improves pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence all at once. Now let's talk about motivation. Because when you're learning alone, motivation will rise and fall. There will be days you feel unstoppable, and days you feel stuck. That's normal. But remember, motivation is not what keeps you fluent. Discipline does. So create small rules for yourself. For example, I will listen to English every morning while having tea. I will write 5 lines every night before sleeping. Make it simple enough to never skip. When you keep your promises to yourself, you build self-trust. And self-trust creates confidence, in language and in life. Now, here's a deep truth. English fluency is not about words. It's about freedom. Freedom to express your heart. Freedom to connect with the world. Freedom to chase bigger dreams. So don't just learn for exams or jobs. Learn because you deserve that freedom. Every new word you learn expands your world. Every new sentence you speak builds your courage. Every small progress is changing your future. And when you stay consistent, magic happens. You start thinking in English. You start dreaming in English. You start expressing yourself in ways you never could before. And one day, you'll meet someone who is struggling, just like you once did. And you'll tell them, don't give up. You can learn alone. I did. And they'll look at you with hope. That's when you'll realize how far you've come. You'll realize that learning English alone wasn't just about a language. It was about discipline. It was about faith. It was about building yourself from nothing. And that's something to be proud of. Because when you learn something without help, you build not only skill, you build character. You become stronger, more patient, more confident. You stop waiting for help, and you start trusting your own power. So if you're learning English alone, keep going. Keep speaking. Keep listening. Keep writing. Keep growing. There will be mistakes. There will be bad days. But each one is part of your success story. And one day, someone will ask, how did you become so fluent? And you'll smile and say, I learned alone. But I was never truly alone, because every word I spoke, every line I wrote, brought me closer to myself. That's how you master English alone. Not through shortcuts. Not through fear. But through love, patience, and persistence. So today, promise yourself, you'll stop saying, I can't. You'll start saying, I'm learning. You'll stop saying, I'm shy. You'll start saying, I'm growing. And every time you feel like quitting, remember this. Even if you're learning alone, you're not alone. Millions of people around the world are walking the same path. You're part of something big, a community of dreamers, of learners, of believers. So take a deep breath, smile, and keep going. Because every day you practice, You're not just learning English, you're creating a better version of yourself.